That's Forget About Luck, Mr. Gary Candish.
Have you ever noticed that some people seem to be very, very lucky? Now the key words here are seem to be. There is no such thing as luck. Now try running that past some of your friends. You'll find it often ends up in a very interesting and sometimes a very heated debate. You see, I believe it's all a matter of science. And with it being a matter of science, it can be proven. And I'm going to prove it to all of you today. Now there are 9 scientific principles relating to luck. But I've only got time to talk to you about 2 of those today. But before we get started, and to help you understand the concepts, what I want you to do is imagine you had a specific goal or a specific target you wanted to achieve. And for the purpose of today's exercise, what I'd like you to do is imagine that you wanted to become wealthy. So hold that thought in your mind, I want to become wealthy. Okay, let's get started. The first law is the scientific law of cause and effect. Now this was first talked about by Socrates back in 2500 BC. And Socrates said this. He said that for every effect, every result you get in your life, there has to be a cause or a reason why you get that result. Not only that, you had to take certain steps in order to achieve that result. He also argued this. He said those steps that you took are both measurable, specific, and definable. And because those steps are measurable, specific, and definable, they could be copied by anybody. So anybody could achieve anything they wanted. So apply that to your goal. You want to become wealthy. All you have to do is find out somebody else that's become wealthy, work out exactly what steps they've taken to become wealthy, follow the exact same steps, and you too, scientifically and guaranteed, will become wealthy as well. Now I like Voltaire, who's a famous French philosopher. 200 years ago he said this. He said, luck is just a word we invented to explain the known effects of unknown causes. Okay, so let's move on to the second principle. The second principle is this. It's the principle, the scientific principle of probability. So to help me explain this, I'm going to tell you about probability. I'm going to tell you a story about 2 guys that want to play darts. Now the first guy decides he wants to play darts. He walks down to the pub, and the first thing he does is he orders 9 bottles of brown ale. Newcastle brown ale, as we're in Newcastle. And he starts drinking them. Well, you can imagine after about an hour, he's very inebriated, and he can't stand up very well. He then goes into the room, he doesn't bother turning all the lights on where the darts are. He's only got a few lights on, so he can't see very well. He has no idea of the rules appertaining to darts. So he stands from here to the end of the room, we're 30 feet away. He picks the worst darts that are broken, they're not working properly, and he starts throwing them at the board. So he picks the first one up, and he throws it. And he picks the next one up, and he throws it. And he continuously throws these darts. Now, with a balance of probabilities, if he continuously throws these darts, will he eventually hit the dartboard? Well, of course the answer is yes. Eventually, if he keeps on going, he will hit the dartboard. Now, if he keeps on throwing, and he keeps on throwing, on the balance of probabilities, will he eventually hit the bullseye? And of course the answer is yes. Even if it takes him weeks or months, he will eventually hit the bullseye. So what we're saying here, guys, is this. It has nothing to do with luck. It's all about probability and perseverance. Now the next guy, the second guy, he's a lot more tuned in. He decides he's going to look at all the controllable factors to give him the best possible chance. So the first thing he does, he goes down to the pub and he drinks orange juice and remains nice and sober. He puts all the lights on so he can see properly. He studies the rules and he realises you don't have to stand about 12 to 15 feet away. You don't have to stand 40 feet away. He picks the finest crafted darts you can find, aerodynamically perfect to give him the best chance. He then enlists the help of Martin Wolfie Adams. I don't know if you ever watched the darts, but Wolfie is the existing 2011 world champion. And Wolfie says to the guy, here, I'm going to show you how to do it. And he starts training him on how to throw the darts and showing him exactly how to do it. Now, how long will it take the second guy to hit the dartboard? Will he achieve it in a lot shorter time than the first guy? Of course, the answer is yes. And if he keeps on going and making slight adjustments, how long will it take him to hit the bullseye? Will he do it in a lot shorter time than the first guy? Of course, the answer is yes. So we've learned two great lessons here. The first one is it's got nothing to do with luck. It's about probability and perseverance. And the second lesson is this. Take into consideration all the controllable factors, and you work on those, you can achieve whatever you want in life in a much shorter time span. So apply that to your goal of becoming wealthy, and you become a lot more successful a lot more quickly. So how do I sum this all up? How do I pull it all together? Well, I want you to imagine you go into a BMW garage and you buy a brand new BMW. You drive it out of the garage and you take it home. When you get home, you don't jump out of the car, wipe your brow and think, how lucky am I? I made it home and it didn't conk out. You realise that the guys who designed and built this understood the scientific principles of mechanics and physics and electricity, and luck had absolutely nothing to do with it. Now, if you want to achieve success in your life, whether it be wealthy or any other goal you want to achieve, you've got to realise that success needs clues. All you have to do is find a successful person, work out exactly what steps they've taken, take the same steps, and you will get exactly the same success as they've got. Scientifically and guaranteed. And of course, now you understand probability and perseverance. And if you apply those principles to your life, you will achieve more in 1 year than most people achieve in 10. And you will have done it all by following scientific principle. As I'm sure you, by now, agree with me that there is no such thing as luck.